show me how you move it. Go ahead, put your back into it. Do your thing like it ain't nothing to it. Shake that ass, girl. Little mama, show me how you move it.
Hello, people. We're back in the studio, and it's been nostalgic lately with the Dome closing in a few weeks and coming up on a year anniversary. I thought I'll bring back one of my first guests, one of my first interviews that really brought Dashawns. This is where it was. Willie Mack. How you doing, man?
Good.
Nice to have you in the studio.
Good to be in the studio.
I said, if you picked the DVDs, and tell me why you picked the DVDs. We always ask.
Oh, well, Jungle Book was when I was coming up as a kid. The Incredibles was great because I love what's her name's butt in the spandex suit. She's like a MILF even though she's a cartoon. I smashed that if she was real. Chicken Little was crazy to be a kid's movie. Mrs. Doubtfire because I love Robin Williams, and I met him in 2007 in San Francisco at a Lucha Vavoom show. And he came backstage and said he loved us. Transformers because it's awesome that it's in real life and action form. The Mummy because who didn't like the Mummy? Everybody loved it. And Jurassic Park because Samuel L. Jackson got ate by 2 velociraptors.
He's also eaten by a shark too, so he's a bad luck of animals.
Yeah.
He has a bad luck of animals.
Yep.
Also, one thing about Chicken Little, if everybody doesn't know, TNA was running their show when Christian jumped ship. I left my sister at the theater to go in the car with my grandma to go back to the house to watch it, and left my sister alone for a friend at the movies to see Christian debut for TNA. That's how big of a Christian fan. So I'm a peep. I'm a big peep for that.
Damn.
Ever done something crazy for wrestling, like just drop everything just for to do it? That's my craziest wrestling story. I just like dropped my sister, left her at the movies, didn't tell her.
No, nothing really.
You know?
Nothing I can think of. No, I don't think I did.
Yeah. So we got. So you started up in you started as a fan first, watching stuff from the stands. You went into wrestling. So you started in high school. So before you graduated, you started training. Then you graduated. Didn't you? Damn it. We could edit this out. Yeah. So you started training in high school, then stopped. Why did you stop in high school?
Well, I was actually on a day off from school because my teacher hit me up and said, I know you love wrestling so much, so why don't you try it? I was like, I don't know what the hell no school is. So he went on Yahoo and searched wrestling schools in Southern California. That's when I found the Ref Pro School at the time. And I went there on one of my days off because they trained on Thursday nights around 5 or 6 o'clock. So I went there. I was 14 at the time. Did my little bumps in training, ran into Human Tornado, another dude. Oh, and Dino Winwood. They called him Baby Supreme back then. Rising Sun, Disco, and Ron Rivera was there, American Wild Child. And I said, you know what? This was fun and all, but I'm going to wait till I graduate high school first and get my diploma, then come back full time. And then 4 years later, I graduated from high school on June 20th, 2005, and had my first training session on June 21st, 2005. Because I graduated on a Wednesday and training was the next day, so I said, fuck it, might as well start right then.
So your first training was WPW?
No, my first training was at AWS actually.
Wikipedia says WPW then AWS.
Nah, I went to AWS first.
Okay.
Then went to WPW later on.
Yeah, Wikipedia guy has it wrong. I go on Wikipedia because Kevin Steen shows Wikipedia and it's trying to way to get back early stuff.
Yeah.
But people mess up stuff.
Yeah, I did that and had a whole year of training. Then May 14, 2006 is when I debuted against LTP in one of my first matches ever.
LTP was your partner in PW for a while back when you first started.
Yeah, we teamed in WPW, Epic War, a few times in SoCal Pro. And I think once at AWS, we took on Los Luchas for the NWA World Tag Team titles when they won them, just after they won them. So we was their first defense, and I was surprised when they told us we was getting a title shot that damn early. I was like, okay, cool, I'm down with it.
So how long till the NWA called you up because they saw you at AWS and they said invited you over. How long was that in your career until they invited you?
I first started working for them like late.
So you know you've been in NWA for a while. The Hollywood scene, like the Chester for Hollywood, the Maka one, the Showcase, all that in the past years.
Like the NWA stuff, I started when they was doing this thing called the Showcase.
Yeah.
When they ran at the Plaza Hotel in Vegas. I did my first match there for them was me versus Brent Albright or Gunner Scott from TNA.
Okay.
I mean, not TNA, WWF at the time. And he got released and came and worked with them. And then they said, you're going to be wrestling with Brent Albright. And I was like, all right, cool. Went out there, they had me as a heel, and I did my thing. And the people liked it. And then I got invited back when they moved out to Hollywood and started doing tapings out there at this place called the CBS Square Studios off Sunset, right across the street from the Palladium, I think. And we did our run there, and then later on, that's when they exchanged it into Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. We did the first 4 tapings of that there, when me and LTP wrestled Gandhi Goodtime and Joey Ryan. And we ended up beating them, but I don't think nobody ever saw it, because like when we moved to KDOC and like got a legit station, they had to revamp everything and start all over at the Galaxy Theater.
Okay.
That's when Blue Demon was the champion when we did the older Championship Wrestling from Hollywood tapings. Yeah.
Wikipedia said you wrestled in the Anaheim Marketplace. When was that?
That was 2006 too.
Okay.
Yeah, because like they would run every Sunday and I would go every Sunday there because they show started at 3. And then I used to wrestle at this place called MWF. It's ran by a dude named Punisher or Kiss, as they call him.
It's the Mr. California promotion that has the same matches every week.
Yep, same damn.
And they pay like guys like $5.
Yeah, or Torta and a soda.
Yeah.
But yeah, they used to run on Florence and Main where Lucha Pro runs. Cause they used to run there. Then they ran on a place called Gurus in East LA. And then I just would go to WPW at 3 o'clock and Lucha Pro or MWF was at 6 o'clock in the evening. So I do like 2 shows in one day every Sunday, and then just took off from there.
Because like Young Bucks were talking about when they started, like Lucha shows were like you can do one across the street and do one. Like was it like that back when you started?
Yeah, because it was just like if you got out early enough, like if you're using the first or second matches of the show, you could load up in the car, you and whoever else is booked, and just roll to the next show. That's what me and a dude named Super Gabacho used to do, and Sexy Chino. And LTP and another guy named Gabacho Loco. Yeah, we all used to do that a lot and had fun because we was just starting out and just having fun and wrestling.
How many matches did you do during the weekend when you first started out?
Shit, let me see. Usually a Saturday show, 2 on Sundays, so and sometimes Friday if something pop up, so about 4 matches.
You're one of the hardest working guys in SoCal. You're always out there, NorCal, SoCal. You try to do how many matches a week? You just try to get as many bookings as you can?
Yeah, I'm just trying to go out there. Whoever hit me up, I'll make sure I have a schedule and stuff like that. Because sometimes I mess around and double book myself. Because like recently I was booked for the Apex show that they just had on the same day as PWG.
Oh yeah, like it was like 3 people were booked the same.
Yeah, but like Apex hit me up like 3 months ahead of time and told me about it, and PWG just came up at the last minute, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, one show started at 6, the other one started at 8, PWG, but supposedly 8 o'clock, but you know damn well they ain't starting on time. So, yeah, it was me and B-Boy and Lil Cholo in a 3-way at Apex. We was second match, got done with that, got in the car, and went to Reseda and wrestled PP Ray later on that day, and we did our thing.
So when did you start going to PWG shows? Because I know on commentary they call you just to say you started as a fan. When did you start attending those shows?
2004, I think.
What was your first like in California indie show, and how did you find out about the indies around you?
Oh, my first indie show was XPW Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, because I went and, like, I found it on TV like in 1999 when they was running at the Palace in Hollywood or something like that. And then I saw that this was like local places, and I saw the next event they had advertised was Vengeance. And then it was at the LA Sports Arena. And I said, all right, to hell with it. It was right down the street from where I live, so I got one of my homies, and we just went and watched the show and chilled. And after the show, people was passing out flyers for other events. And I think I saw Scorpio Sky and a couple other people passing out the flyers, but I don't know who the hell they was at the time. It was for a company called Southern California Wrestling Alliance. Yeah, and
SCWA.
Yep.
Yes.
And then, like, years later, I ended up running into them and wrestling with half of the people that I saw on them shows during the trip.
That's crazy. So who'd you look up? Who'd you like watching in XPW? Then you're a big XPW guy.
Oh, shit. The main ones to watch was always actually Supreme, and, like, the deathmatch dudes was good. But I mostly just paid attention to Chaos, of course, and the Messiah, and Johnny Webb. But, like, Chaos and Messiah was like the two dudes that you looked at and said, oh, they're going to get signed somewhere pretty soon. But stuff happens.
Yeah, Ralph of the Dashawns2cents, the ever got East Coast Dashawns2cents guy, was biggest PW guy. Really thought Chaos would go somewhere. He did a little bit in TNA, not much. So it's weird how Chaos been around since '95, never went major anywhere.
Like, he did CZW for a little bit too.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, he doing stuff.
So when did you start with PWG? Your first match? You started teaming with Jerome, right?
Who?
LTP, you mean?
No, we didn't team at PWG.
Oh yeah.
We just did like WPW and Epic Pro Wrestling and stuff like that. But I just debuted as a singles wrestler for PWG.
What was your first match for PWG?
Me versus Peter Avalon on Cyanide.
Oh yeah.
Dedication to Poison. I think it was December 11th, 2011. Yeah.
So how crazy was it to go from the stands to being in the ring?
It was a trip because, like, my first PWG show I went to was called Jason Takes PWG.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the main event was Chris Daniels versus AJ Styles, the X Division title versus the PWG title, and the main event. And then went to a 60-minute draw. And I said to myself after, like, the whole show, after everything was good, I was like, I'm going to end up wrestling here one day. And shit, like, 4 or 5 years later, I ended up debuting there, and I was like, damn, it's really happening.
Then you went on a string of wrestling the top guys. You beat Kevin Steen and Rocky Doi.
Yep.
You wrestled in Rocky Doi, wasn't that the Wrestle Reunion?
Yep, the last Wrestle Reunion they did here.
Yeah, so how was wrestling in Rocky Doi and like Kevin Steen, like wrestling these top guys? They're like big stars in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it was cool. It was different because, like, going in there, you thinking to yourself, like, these dudes been all over the world and got a reputation of this, that, and the other, and you see them as a fan, but, like, when you get into that mindset of getting ready to get in the ring with him, you're like, all right, this dude gonna bring it to me to test me out, so I'm gonna be ready and prepared to give it right back to him. Especially, like, the Japanese style, they do that strong style and all the other shit. Because people say I'm stiff, but I'm not stiff, I'm just heavy-handed and big, so if I'm gonna throw something at you, I'm gonna make sure you feel it. I'm not just gonna whiff you or nothing like that, so.
Your matches always look pretty hard hitting, and you try to make your stuff hard hitting? You try to make your matches always different. I know you say your moveset is unlimited, like you have moves that we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Who's that credit for, like training? Who would like you? Who are your trainers for, like from AWS? Who would you do credit as your main trainer in wrestling?
My main trainer?
You're like the ones that say you train by. Who do you want to say you were trained by?
I was trained by too many damn people. Like on that Wikipedia, I seen it, but that's just like a top of a lot of folks that I've been trained by.
Yeah,
that's just like a few that they threw out there that they knew of.
This show is random because we're going all over the place, which is not just always go all over the place. Let's go to the Wikipedia. Let's test what's right and what's not right. Getting the Wikipedia edition. First time we're bringing the Wikipedia out. We're stealing for Kevin Steen, but God, no package pile jars, people. Doesn't matter. So, you're 5'10", right?
Supposed to be, I guess.
Okay. Born January 5th, 1987.
Yep.
Okay. Build from St. Louis, Missouri. When did you move from St. Louis to here?
When I was a baby.
Okay.
Yep. I was a kid, born out there and raised in South Central LA.
So let's go to the training. Trained by Joey Ryan?
Yeah.
Martin Marin?
Martine Marine.
Martine Marine. Okay, it looks like Martin to me.
Yeah.
Looks like Martin. Okay, Lil Cholo.
Yeah.
Aaron Aguilera.
Yep. At AWS.
Isn't that crazy? You just wrestled Aaron Aguilera. How was it wrestling him, wrestling Cares? It seems like.
It was fun because, like, it was funny when he found out on my Wikipedia page that they had him credited as one of my trainers. He was like, damn, that's awesome. He was like, you can go on ahead and do it. At least I did something.
Yeah.
Right? He was like, I was like, damn, that's funny.
That's the first I seen him all out. I've seen Aaron Aguilera a few times, Pat Bonita Dome. You never seen like go all out, but he seen him go all out in your match. And like he first time he went full speed.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. They always expect big dudes to be slow and not do much. But, like, guys like me, him, and a few other people, like, will change that around real quick to let you know I'm strong enough to be in there with, like, the bigger buff dudes and quick enough to keep up with y'all smallest dudes.
Because sometimes on my iPad it cuts off half the Wikipedia, so I have to go somewhere else to get it. If you know what Dashawns2cents is, it's random. We talk about everything. We're trying to cover a lot of things. And if you've done so much stuff, it's hard to cover like all of it. We're here for a while, so this is a shoot interview. So just download to your TV and watch it. So, do you mean Will? Yes, I do mean Willie Mack. I just go with the flow. That is not. Here's Willie Mack. You know that guy?
Yeah, that's the country singer.
Wrong. See Willie Mack, the wrestler.
Yeah, it's weird because they got the country singer, me, it's a football player named Willie Mack, and an MMA fighter named Willie Mack who added me on Facebook.
Yeah, so let's see. Willie Mack began his training while he was still in high school. But put on hold to graduates. We did that. It says he then attended Martin Marin's WPW training school in Anaheim. Is that true after high school?
No.
No?
No, remember I told you.
Oh yeah, AWS, okay. So after AWS, he began wrestling. It says he wrestled at WPW's weekly shows in Anaheim Marketplace.
Yeah, Sundays, every Sunday.
Maybe that's where they got it from.
Yeah.
So
I know people was paying attention that far back.
yeah. So he moved on to Bart Kapitsky's AWS school in Steve Industry and began wrestling for NWA sanctioned wrestling school. At AWS, he got noticed by NWA producers and was invited. So what's about Mach 1? Have we talked about Mach 1 yet?
No, not really.
So how was the wrestling Mach 1? He wrestled at the American Sports Center across the street from where WPW used to run.
Yeah, it was fun because it was like every Friday night and we had little programs and everything going on. Had a nice little crowd and it was a good little building. Like it was always packed too. But and they did like this thing too, like because the show would start at 9 o'clock because the NWA TV show used to come on Friday nights at 8 o'clock. So when people would show up to the Mach 1 shows, they'll have like a big screen and they'll play the Hollywood taping on there an hour before the show.
It's crazy.
The Mach 1 shows only ran like an hour. So that was fun.
It says you then defeated, February 5th, 2010, you defeated Scorpio Sky in a contenders match for the Mach 1 title. Remember that match?
Yeah, that was one of the first or second times I wrestled. I'm trying to remember. But it was fun. Like, I didn't even know it was the #1 contenders match until they told me. I was like, what the hell? So that happened. And the original match for the title later that night was Bobby Marshall, who's from Australia.
This is Australia's Bobby Marshall right here.
James Morgan and Joey Ryan. It was a 3-way. But then I interjected myself in and said, why don't we make this a 4-way since I won the #1 contenders match earlier today. So later on that night we went and had that. It was elimination style. Like Joey Ryan was the first eliminated. James Morgan was the second eliminated. Then it went down to me and Bobby Marshall. And I caught him with the chocolate thunder bomb off the top and 1, 2, 3 won the Mach 1 title.
Was that one of your first titles?
It was one of my first major titles, I guess.
What was the first title you won in wrestling?
Oh, the WPW World Heavyweight title.
Who's your defeat for that?
Playboy.
Oh.
You know him from like Lucha Pro and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause that was random as hell too.
Willie Mack was OG Playboy. What's the YouTube that match? How was that match?
It was fun.
Yeah. He's a good wrestler. I've seen him wrestle. He's pretty good for what he is. I saw him wrestle at the Dome last year. I've seen him this year at I don't care what EPW shows.
Yeah, cause like it was him versus Martin Ramirez, aka El Genio or the Genie, and the match for the title was hair versus title. So Martin ended up beating him. He said, "All right, you could take my hair, but you can't take my title. I'll defend it against anybody else." And that's when like one of the dudes from the back ran up and grabbed me. Said, "Willie, go out there and kick his ass real quick, and we'll see what happens." So they hit my music. I came in. I popped them with my the TKO.
Yeah.
I was using that as a finish for a minute. I did that, and then they said cover him. I'm like, what? I went on top, 1, 2, 3. And then that's when I turned around and they shoved the belt in my chest, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And they was like, you're the world champion now. I was like,
that's the craziest world title.
yeah.
See, they just came into you and said, you'll beat his ass. And you didn't even know it was a title match.
Hell no, I just...
Like, here's the title. Like, what the f...
Yeah, because earlier in the day, they told me to, everybody in the back to stay in their gear because they're going to do photos after the show.
Okay.
So when he said that, that's when the dude ran up and grabbed me and said, Willie, go out there, hit him, kick his ass real quick and just see what happened. I was like, all right. And I was like, damn. I was the first black and youngest WPW World Champion.
All right. Well, so your Mach 1 reign, what was your middle matches as WWE champion then? How long did you hold the title for?
Shit, 8 months.
8 months? Okay.
Yeah. 8 months. That shit was a trip.
So who was your matches? Who did you like wrestle most? What was your big feuds wrestling that title?
A bunch of folks, but my biggest one, I guess, was Gabacho Loco. He was a cool dude. Like, you probably seen him if you came to the Foots Memorial Show.
Yeah, I was there. That was one of the most...
He was the tall dude, the tall white-looking dude who had, like, the black jeans with the black tank top.
Okay.
That everybody didn't know who he was. That's who he was. He was one of my homies coming up. And I used to feud with him a lot, and that was fun.
Yeah.
Because he was a big dude that liked to hit, and I was one that liked to hit.
Girl, little mama, show me how you move it. Go ahead, put your back into it. Do your thing like it ain't nothing to it. Shake